Here we've got quite an exotic looking rhododendron. This one's called Vulcan, and you can see these really striking red flowers, and it's growing in shade. This, in fact, for most of the year it's in shade. It only gets a couple of hours of sun a day, but even so it does provide a decent show. It's a lovely shrub, this, and this Azalea performs every year without fail. Gives us this fantastic display. You can see just next to it I've got my Emily Mackenzie Cocrosmias. Won't see the flowers for a while, but come September they'll give us a nice show. And next to it here I've got this new broom bush, Cetices Lena, this one's called, and I really like these orange flowers. It's been flowering for maybe 2 weeks, and I think it's got a bit to go yet before it finishes. I've got another broom, another part of the garden that I've done a video about. The catmint's out, and I can see the first few flowers coming through. Now this is going to perform all spring and all summer, and it will carry on even up to October. It will take maybe 2 or 3 cuts over the next few months, and every time I cut it back I get a nice new flush of flowers. This Loropetalum is still flowering, and it's been going for about a month now, possibly maybe about 6 weeks. Needs tidying up afterwards. Try and encourage some growth further down in the plant. We'll try and encourage a really bushy habit, but again this is a fantastic shrub that I've done a video on before. The Hebeberry charm continues to get bigger and bigger, and it looks as if it's going to start flushing some nice flowers in the next couple of weeks. The real show's towards the beginning of June, and this will look fantastic when you see all these flowers. Also, this hasn't really started, this little bed. We've got some Camellia there, ground cover, and that'll be fantastic come June, possibly towards the end of May. Got some Asiatic lilies there, but I found a little red beetle on these the other day. A horrible little creature called a lily beetle. So whenever you see them, you've got to get rid of them, otherwise it's going to eat the whole lot. You see, you've got some Hebes here. These look great all year round, but these will all flower in June. They'll look fantastic. Like the Vernicosa, got a white flower. Got the Caledonia. I think that's like a bluey purple flower. This pinky purpley looking Hebe here, Magic Summer, doesn't flower, it's going really for the leaves. And also we've got here Hebe albicans. I like this one. It looks like almost like a succulent type plant. But again, come June this will be full of fantastic flowers, and the bees absolutely love them. This peach tree, I've had it for 3 years, and every year I never get any peaches. This time it looks like I've got about 5 peaches on this, but it was absolutely battered by a leaf curl again. I think I was optimistic when I bought this, because I don't think it's going to perform in this garden, but we'll give it another chance. I've taken most of the leaves off the tree that had the leaf curl. You get this on the first leaf buds. When it flushes again later on, it doesn't have that problem, but it weakens the plant, and if you've got a fruit crop it'll weaken the crop as well. But I've only got about 5 peaches on there anyway, so hopefully I'll be able to harvest them come August. Planted these max fried geraniums last year. Didn't do much, but it looks as if they're starting to settle in, and this time there's a few flowers on there. I think within a couple of years, when these come up, they should fill the edge of this right across, and they should be full of flowers. Sometimes it takes a couple of years for perennials to really settle in and get going. The last time I did a tour of the garden, there was a huge shrub here, Euonymus shrub, that lost its variegation, and it filled a big gap in the wall, but wasn't really doing much. So I cut it right down and I planted this pear tree. It's a conference pear tree on a patio rootstock. It's not going to do much this year, it just needs to settle in, but hopefully it's old enough next year to give us some flowers and then give us some pears. I've also planted this broom bush here, this praecox. I've no idea what the variety it is. I was in a supermarket and I saw this one, a little tiny plant. Planted it last year and it didn't do anything, but this year it's really put on a fantastic show. And when these flowers are finished, I'll need to prune this back, because if you don't, it will get woody. So once it's pruned back, the flowers will appear next year on this year's growth. And just behind it, I've got the Californian lilac, Concha. This is a little tiny plant that I bought from a garden centre. Now this actually grows quite big, but I'll leave it there for the time being. It looks nice. And we'll see how this grows over the next few years, see how big it grows, see how fast it grows. The red star cordyline made it through the winter. It doesn't grow as big, this one, but it's looking quite healthy. Be a few years before this gets much of a trunk. And next to it, I've got a trachycarpus which is looking really green, Wagnerianus. And just below there, I've got these dianthus plants. This is one of the annoying things about gardening. So I've got 3 plants. I've got a pink one here, I've got a red one here and a white one. But for some reason that's absolutely thriving. But these 2 come through a bit battered and worse for wear. So I've cut these 2 right back, and hopefully it will start sending out some new growth, and then we'll get the flowers later on. Also, we've got this fantastic shrub. It's been here for years and it looks great all year round. The Emerald Gaiety Euonymus. Just need to keep it pruned every year. This one here, I've moved this from another location. Now you grow this because of this fantastic colour and the way that these leaves change over the summer, and there wasn't much to it where I had it planted. I mean, there was a bit of colour to it, but now I've moved it here, it gets more sun and it's really starting to look good. It's the Berberis Admiration Barbary. Got some wallflowers, had a few of these a few years ago. The problem is they get woody and they last about 2 or 3 years. In fact, this is probably in the wrong place, but I've just left them here to give us a bit of a show. Might get 1 more year out of them, but I'll probably move them on somewhere else in the garden. Another shrub, Euonymus shrub. You can see though, this is the problem you get with it. This green growth has a tendency to turn green over time, so I need to pluck those out to make sure it keeps its colour. This is going to be absolutely huge in a few years' time. The rate of growth on these cordyceps is incredible, and this is going to be a fantastic tree, like I said, in a few years' time. just planted this little baby azalea plant. It's called Gibraltar. And when this grows, this is going to be pretty spectacular against the wall. Be a few years yet before they get receipt in all its glory, but even now, it's putting out some nice flowers. The blueberry, Spartan, got acidic soil here. Hopefully this will give me some nice blueberries later on in the year. This is a new Nandina that I've planted called Blush Pink. Now it's noted for the colour in winter. It goes red all over, but also it gets this new red growth right through the summer. It was a bit battered when it arrived, but hopefully it will start to look better and it will start to look a bit neater and tidier as time goes on. Looking forward to seeing the red foliage as the summer and into the winter. This salvia, I planted it last year. It's called Viola Close. Now, it hasn't flowered just yet, but you can see this is going to flower soon and it'll provide a fantastic show. This is one of the darkest salvias out of the lot, out of this type, so it'll be interesting to see what that looks like in summer. A little baby Chimerops cerifera palm, the Moroccan Mediterranean fan palm. This is a slow grower. It's going to take years before this gets any size, but either way, it's quite striking colour to it and it looks decent even now. Now normally I like to have these as a single trunk, but this one's come in what it would be its normal look, which is basically multiple trunks from the base. There are about 4 trunks, but this will still look good even with 4 trunks. It'll look like a nice it'll look like a really nice bush palm in a few years. This was great about a month ago. It was full of flowers. I'll give it a real hard prune because all the new growth is what's going to give us next year's flowers. But this responds. Come summer, this will respond vigorously. But it is quite an untidy plant, so you've got to keep it under control. Things can get a bit messy. Looks like these penstemon have come through the winter. I think these are called Phoenix Red. They're really nice plants. They can be a bit unpredictable if you get a harsh winter, but it looks like I'm going to get at least this year out of them. And now I've got this huge gap. I've moved the palm tree over here so I can fit one more plant in. I think I'm going to put a hibiscus here. The hibiscus in the sun will look nice. Yeah, a bit of work to do here. The problem I've got is my old favourite shrub, the headcoat, grows quite big and it will shade out anything underneath, so I'll give it a real hard prune this year. We'll see how far it grows before we get the flowers. Some salvia East Friesland, that'll be coming up a bit later. Another Trachycarpus magnanimous. Planted these Agastaki last year. Now these, I think they're a Mexican variety. They're called Kudos Mandarin and they've got fantastic orange flowers. And once these start flowering, they'll go all the way through to October, even though November. Now these like really well drained soil. So I actually had 5 of them, I've only got 3 left. Because only 3 of them made it through the winter. I'll come back to these at a later date. Normally in spring you give these a real hard prune back and they'll really respond. Amsonia blue ice starting to come through. In this border There's a few spring flowering plants, phlox. I think this is called Emerald Cushion, not quite sure. This is a great ground cover. And then we've got the Hebe, Magic Summer, and the Bootia. Planted this last year. Now some have asked how many fronds this puts out. It's put that one out, and it started putting this other one out. So it's actually quite slow growing. But I think we'll get this one fully grown. We'll get another one, and then later on it'll try and put out a third one. But if you look at the size of the fronds though, there's not a lot of fronds, but they're huge. And this is kept quite well. There's a couple of these lower fronds will be quite old now. They've been in the plant for quite a while. Nandina, Gulfstream, starting to put out some new growth. This is still flowering, but it's coming towards the end. Cherry Ingram Omphalodes, some of my favourite plants in the garden. And then this little corner is quite shady. So this year I put in this viburnum, the David viburnum. Got some nice flowers on it at the moment, but it's a very nice looking plant. Just here I've got this Azalea. I didn't buy this, got this from my mother-in-law. She had it in a pot and it was really leggy, so I just brought it back to the garden to see if I could perk it up a little bit. But it looks good. Old-fashioned looking flowers, but they're still nice lemon looking colour. The Camellia is fantastic, and it's really given us a lot of flowers this year. Coming towards the end, but it's still full of buds. One of the best flowers you can have in your garden. And I planted this Mahonia behind it. This Mahonia in a few years is going to tower over this Camellia. And then every winter you'll be able to see some yellow flowers on there. Skimmia, it's finished flowering now. And this is going to put out the new leafy growth. Got a heuchera here with some nice flowers. Now in this bed, I've cut back all the heucheras right back. And when you cut these right back, it gives you a nice load of new fresh growth, and it looks great. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.